Yes. Welcome, Allyn. Great to see you. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. This is like the first time ever that you've been in the same location
I know, twice in a
twice.
row.
This is amazing. It's a miracle. So,
Yeah.
why don't you get everybody up to speed with who you are and what you do for anyone out there that isn't aware of who you are?
What do I do? Oh my god, I
What
hate
do
that
you
question.
do?
I don't know what I do, Joel. That's part of the problem. Um, I don't know. My name is Lynn. I do stuff in TA. Right now I work at Smart Recruiters. And will be, so that sounded bad. I work at Smart Recruiter. Um, don't laugh, guys. That's not nice. I Yeah, yeah, yeah. I work at Smart Recruiters. I do a lot of thought leadership stuff. I work on our larger brand and storytelling. And I really, what I do is connect the real world to real products and try and help that kind of juncture happen. Got to that after spending many years on the practitioner side. So that's what I do. And
And
I
you
just,
travel around the world and you there's so much that you do. I think last time we connected, you were well, no, it was a time before you were live on a show floor and then we got
that's
disconnected.
connected, exactly. This is how always happens to me. Yeah, we're back. So as we're back at home. But yeah, I spend a good portion of the time running around the show floor and connecting with people and having conversations and doing that work. So yeah, that's what I do. And then the other part of my life is watching what's happening in the world and trying to make sense of it and say why do we care?
I know, and I was listening to that last segment with Matt. Matt's talking about trends and what's going on in the world. There is always so much going on. It blows my mind. And I know our old friends at what's that company called? Meta, I think. They've been getting in some hot water recently. So what's been going on there, and what can we learn from this, and like why are we seeing this?
So I love this. And you wanna know what? I love that this is so topical. You guys were even talking about this being potentially an issue just a few segments ago. So when Danielle was talking about people starting to go after kind of hidden quiet benefit stripping, that's
Yep,
exactly what is happening. So Meta, for example, went after lunch vouchers, right? Are you
crazy.
misusing your lunch vouchers? It's now a whole thing. There's a big story on it in the New York Post called Perk Police. And
Perk
what
police. I love that.
so basically what's happening is they have let the accountants out of their hole. And they have said, go look at your spreadsheet and where can you nickel and dime people to death? And they are doing it on all these things that we just kind of considered the big benefit perks in the world, right? Like, okay, I work there so I can get a free cup of coffee in the morning. Or, my God, are you taking more than one piece of fruit at a time from the free fruit stand? We're going to find you.
What
So
didn't someone get in hot water for, like, toothpaste? I wanna say it was something to do with toothpaste.
I don't know that one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, so but I can imagine, right? This is the thing. And it's showing up in big ways, right? So that expense report tracking is like now serious business. People are looking at it deep in the like, why did you spend $14 at the airport bar? You could have had a glass of water, right? I'm like, no,
Perfect.
that's not required. That's part of my like that's part of one of the perks that we like these natural things that we just kind of think are part of our day to day. Why is this happening? So whole bunch of theories out there. I think I'm gonna pull the string on it and go. At the end of the day, this is just another version
Yeah.
of how we can catch people out so we can start doing reductions and headcount removals. It's because listen, that $5 or $10 that they're saving here or there off of how much fruit somebody's using or whether or not they're catching too many sandwiches during lunch hour is not saving them a huge amount of money. But catching somebody out and then saying, this is why we're terminating you, is definitely helping the bottom line. So we're seeing that.
And
uh,
it's not just Meta, right? There's other big
it's
names doing this as
there's
well.
a lot of big names out there doing it, and we're starting to see just lots of reports start to trickle in. So watch it, people. Those of you who are like me who said nobody's really paying attention, right?
Yeah,
Because
you gotta be aware of this stuff. So how do you think this is gonna impact overall company morale, the culture? What are your thoughts on that?
oh, I think it'll make everybody feel fabulous about it. No.
Ah,
I think it's going to continue this downward trend of the relationship between companies and employees, right? I'm going to give you a completely separate sounds like a separate topic, but I'm going to tell you it's connected to this story of this mismatch in relationship, right? The psychological contract between employers and employees that is now shifting dramatically. We started to see this almost 10 years ago. It is now completely off the rails. This
Yeah,
idea, right? We see
right.
this all the time, right? We sit there and go, listen, we're going to pay you, companies, I'm going to pay you this much money. And in exchange, employees thought they were going to get a few things like, I don't know, the sandwich during lunch because they told them that's what they were going to get. And, a little bit of job security. Yeah, that's gone. Um, and you're going to get a kind of we're going to have this mutual agreement. Well, now that companies have basically broken it, employees have said, fine, if you're going to play that way, here's how I'm going to play. So here's the next thing that we're starting to see. It's called shadow stand-ins. Have you heard this term?
Yeah, look, I think we were talking about this earlier. I haven't heard this term, but again, this is something we were just talking about earlier, which is
Exactly.
crazy.
So shadow stand-ins is really the formalization of double dipping, but at scale. So double dipping is I'm going to work over here for this company on my remote job, and then also going to work over here at this company, and I'm nobody's going to really know the difference, right? But it's me doing the labor. I'm just like, oh, crack. I'll stay online an extra 5 hours during the day and get an extra report done.
Yep.
We talk about shadow stand-ins. What we're really talking about, particularly in the tech space, but it's happening in many other roles, individuals who are hiring other people to do their work for them at lower cost, right? And then basically sucking in the profit off of that. So this isn't completely
Yeah,
new, but
it's like contract staffing.
it's contract staffing, but I'm doing it on my own. Why do you care? The work's getting done. And I'm mad. It's Pfizer helps me do this. Upwork helps me do this. Remember that book that came out? God, I don't even know how long ago it came out. The 4 Hour Work Week. Do
Yep,
you guys remember that?
yep,
That
Tim Ferriss.
Right? There was a basic premise in that, which basically said there's a majority of work that you're doing that is transactional in nature, that you could probably do, and it would cost you less money, both if you kind of consider time and effort and et cetera, to hire it out. And then to, so what we're starting to see is actually starting to happen at scale. And companies are freaking out because what do you do with that? Do you care? Do you not care? If the work's getting done, does it matter? What are the implications of that? What is the risk and liability of that? I mean, if you're worried about somebody stealing an extra piece of fruit, God, imagine what it feels like when they're not even doing the work. Does it
Yeah, I mean,
matter?
I think you gotta be really careful if you're an employee, just more from what you just mentioned, like if let's say you're working on something that's confidential or you're working on something that, you can't let that this information out, and suddenly you give access to somebody to the wrong information, and
Right,
it gets out, you're gonna be held for that, but at the same time, I the entrepreneur in me is like, "Hey, way to go, employees." Like,
right, right.
we just talked about how companies are getting more stringent with,
Mhm.
really stuff that should be table stakes when you work for a company. The backlash is, you know what? I'm gonna get smarter then, or if you're not gonna give me my annual raise this year, then I'll figure out another way to get better results and make more money. So part of me is like, go employees, but I also think if you're gonna do something like this, you just have to be careful with making sure you're not giving the wrong access to people, right? Like
Absolutely.
your contractor from Fiverr is not somebody who's working for a
That's
foreign
right.
government,
Yeah,
something
yeah, be
like that.
careful. You don't know. You don't know these things. But I think this is all part of the transition to autonomous employment, right? Where at the end of the day, again, it's this break in the psychological contract. It is now fully formed. This is no longer this idea of I do for you and you do for me, and we have this exchange. And because of that, there's some sort of loyalty or sense of connection that is created. I think this has huge implications to the idea of things like employer brand. We can have a whole conversation about that. But this disconnect means at the end of the day, I don't have to trust whether that company has my best interest at heart. I have my best interest at heart. I manage my own destiny. I'm an autonomous individual. And maybe I'm not interested in being as risky as a freelance gig. Maybe I'm still
Is
kind of,
is it is it really though more risky? And this is a huge thing, right? Like
I don't know if it is.
it's stability. Does stability even exist anymore? I mean,
That's
in
what
reality, right?
it doesn't. I mean, I'll go off on that. It doesn't, right? Uh,
Exactly.
and so people are figuring out their way to navigate their way around it. So the backlash, my friends, to all of these fabulous new world constraints that companies are putting on employees is employees are saying, fine, figure it out myself. And catch me if you can.
Well, there you
I,
go. You got from the perk police to shadow stand-ins. We have the trends each week. So, Allyn, where can people find more information about you? Where can they connect with you?
Absolutely. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Facebook, on all the places.
Love it.
At Allyn Bailey, ALLYN BAILAY. That's me. The only one out there. You can probably find me. Or if you want to know more about smart recruiters and the stuff we're doing over there, just go to smartrecruiters.com.
And I love it too. Your videos have been on point recently. I want to give you a shout out for that. I think your video content is spot on, and I'm obviously a huge fan of anyone that's doing video as well. So way to go with that.
You. I'm back on it, and just I have committed back now that I'm back in my house for more than 1 week at
Yes,
a time. Getting ready, I'm getting ready to pull out the camera again.
I love
So
it.
awesome. Thanks, guys. It's been
Thanks,
awesome.
Lynn.
Love
Bye.
it.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.